Okay, another article that caught my attention. This was earlier today, and it was from Yahoo Sports, and it said Draymond Green reportedly wants max contract from Golden State Warriors. So I'm not going to read the whole entire article, but according to this article, it says that Draymond Green believes he deserves a maximum contract that would lock him in for 164.2 million over the next 5 years. According to this article, it says that Draymond still has 2 years left on his current contract, but he could opt out of his contract next summer and become a free agent and come after that type of money. Well, I would say try to get that type of offer. I don't think he will, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. So so what do I think about this? That Draymond Green believes that he's worth 5 years, 164.2 million. So if you do the math, that turns out to be somewhere around 32.8 million. So that's close to 33 million dollars a year. Draymond believes he's worth that much per year. I don't believe he's worth that amount of money, but let me tell you why. We first have to break down Draymond's game and his career statistics and accolades. So I'm just looking at his statistics. From what I see here, from what I'm looking at, only 1 year in Draymond Green's career did I feel he truly was an All Star. I know he got two more All Star game appearances, but I didn't feel that they were deserved. Actually, three more that I didn't think were deserved. There was only 1 year where he really was a legit All Star. That was the 2015-2016 season. This season was the best season of his career. He averaged 14 points a game, close to 10 rebounds, a little over 7 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.4 blocks, on field goal percentage shooting of 49% overall from the field, 38% from the three. So he was he was very good that year overall. Just in all statistics, he was above average, I would say. Definitely an all-star that year. The other years that followed, I would say he did put up solid numbers for the next 2 years after his first All Star appearance, but those were not All Star numbers in my eyes. They were down from like the previous year's numbers, and I didn't think he deserved an All Star game appearance based off what he showed in these numbers. So, but he got them because obviously coaches are biased towards winning teams, and they gave it to him. And just I look overall for his career. His statistics are 8.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, 5.4 assists, one block, 1.4 steals. Statistically, clearly not a max player. Not even close. Not even close at all to being a max player. Draymond at best is a good role player. At his best, he's a good role player. I'm going to talk about the things that Draymond does really good. So let's start with the things he does really good. First of all, Draymond is a good ball handler. He's very good at bringing the ball up the court. He plays the role of de facto point guard in the Warrior system since Steph is not a true point guard. And I'll say he's a good playmaker, but I'm not going to say a great playmaker simply because when Steph was hurt, he didn't put up career highs in assists. I think I think that was a time for him to really show people that he was a great playmaker. But his assists were actually down the year Steph was hurt compared to when he played with Steph. Just and it showed. Just he was terrible, terrible. Just like it was down. So I think that showed he wasn't a great playmaker, because I feel a great playmaker is someone who's going to get a lot of assists even when he's on a bad team. I look at a guy like Chris Paul. You could put him on any bad team in the league. At least when he was in his prime, he's going to get you 8 to 10 assists a game, and he's going to be able to set up plays. So I don't view Draymond as a great playmaker. I'll say he's a good playmaker. I've seen him set up guys for easy layups and dunks in the past when he drives to the paint. He's very good at that. So I'll give him that. Okay. And on the defensive end, Draymond is very good at switching. He's very good at switching. He knows where to switch at the appropriate moments during a play, and he knows how to call out what the other team is doing and tell his teammates where to go and whatnot. He's very good at that. I will give him that. Now, when it comes to his offensive game, he's very limited. He can't shoot. He's a terrible shooter. He's a garbage shooter, okay? He can't take guys off the dribble. He doesn't have that ability to drive past guys. He's not super athletic, so again, for him to get buckets is going to be very hard. He also cannot create his own shot. So he's a very limited player on the offensive end. He's very limited. That if he's not playing on a stacked team, he's pretty much useless. If he was playing on a garbage team, teams would just key in on him and he wouldn't be able to really do anything on the offensive end. I also want to go back to the defensive end. So when it comes to defense, Draymond is allowed to get away with a lot of stuff from the refs. They allow him to hack the shit out of guys who are bigger than him. He's allowed to hand check, hold, and grab. The refs tend to swallow their whistle. They don't call anything at all, and he's allowed to get away pretty much with hacking on the defensive end. So you got to factor that in. That if he was on a bad team, would he be able to do these things on the defensive end? I don't think so. I think Draymond would foul out of a lot of games if he played for a crappy team like the Sacramento Kings, for example, or the OKC Thunder. He's fouling out of games left and right. Just there's no way he's going to be able to play his style of defense because the refs are not going to give him that favorable treatment that they do simply because he got it from playing with the Warriors. That's just not going to happen for him. So I bring up these things because when a player says they're a max player, what I think of that is that this player would be able to be great in any system. It doesn't matter what system he plays in, he's still going to be producing at a high level. I don't view Draymond like that at all. If he's not playing on a stacked team, he's pretty much useless in the impact he can give your team. He's not going to be able to do nothing on the offensive end. He's going to be a liability. And even his strengths on the defensive end are going to be taken away by the refs calling him for fouls. So even though he's able to rotate and he's able to call out switches, that's very good. But the fact that he's not going to be able to foul guys and get away with it, that's going to make him even weaker on the defensive end. So you have a very mediocre player if he's not in a special system. Draymond reminds me of other good role players who were on championship teams, but you knew that they couldn't thrive in other systems besides being on a championship team. He makes me think of Robert Ory, just how Robert Ory struggled the moment he left Houston when he had to play on a Phoenix Suns team that did not have a dominant big man like he did with playing with Elijah Wan. That he struggled there. He hated playing there. And then he became a very good role player again once he got traded to the Lakers playing with Shaq. And I think Robert Ory learned from that lesson that he cannot function unless he's in a certain system. That's why when he became a free agent, the Lakers refused to sign him. He went to the Spurs because he knew he could thrive with another dominant big man in Tim Duncan. So I think I apply the same thing to Draymond. That Draymond would be very good on a stacked team. I don't know which stacked team you could put him on this league, but maybe if you put him on a team like Milwaukee, for example, he would be really good because again, they have Middleton, they have Giannis, they have Jrue Holiday, they have Brook. He'd be very good on that team. Just he would be able to add another dimension to that team. But if you put him on a team like the the OKC Thunder or the Kings, he would be complete trash, complete garbage. Just not someone who could do anything for them. Hell, you could put him on the Orlando Magic and he would be terrible. And this is why Draymond Green is not a max player. He is not a max player. He's a very good role player who's been very fortunate to be on a great team for most of his career. Almost from the start of his career, the Warriors were a good team. So he's very lucky. he's very lucky that if he was in a different situation or if he got drafted to a different team, so the Warriors, he may not have had a long career like he's had so far. He probably is out of the league within a year or two if he was drafted on a terrible team. I also find the situation interesting with Draymond Green. Just when it comes to leverage, I don't think he has that much leverage over the Warriors, or if any leverage, because I don't think ultimately he wants to leave the Warriors. I also don't think other teams are dumb enough to offer him a max deal. I think they would be wary of signing Draymond. I think he showed his true colors during the 1 year where Steph was out for the whole entire year. So I think teams know. But then again, there could be some dumb team out there that's willing to throw the max. You never know in this day and age. But I think the Warriors really have the leverage in this. Also, one thing about the Warriors I found interesting is that Lacob is starting to become wary about the luxury tax. He complained about how it was very unfair about a week ago, and the league fined him over $500,000, so he could be hesitant. It says that the Warriors paid more than $170 million this year in luxury tax, which resulted in a total payroll of $346 million. Maybe Lacob could be dialing it back, but but who knows? Maybe he will be willing to continue to pay luxury tax as long as they're winning. It's hard to say, but I think overall Draymond doesn't really have any leverage in this situation. If push comes to shove and some team throws Draymond max money, I don't think the Warriors would try to counter it. I think they would just tell him like, all right, you can leave. I think if anything, Draymond is hoping the Warriors will resign him whenever he's a free agent because I don't think he wants to be on a normal team where he can get exposed. Draymond would be very miserable playing on a bad team in which his trash talking wouldn't have an effect on the opponents or his dirty play would not be able to help him since the refs would call him for fouls. So this situation is very interesting. I think it'll play out, but I would say it's 50-50 if Draymond will opt out next summer. It really depends on the season he has, and it depends on how well the Warriors do in the playoffs. If the Warriors don't win a championship next season, I think they're not going to be determined to bring him back. I really don't believe that they will. So it really hinges on that. When you win, I feel your value is inflated, and when you lose, your value is depreciated. That's the way I look at it in this league. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and let me know what you guys think about this.